And tonight we continue to cover the standoff that happened in Danby last week, where 36-year-old David Cady was found dead. The Tompkins County Sheriff's Office released their initial investigation report and shared their side of the story. But now WENY's Leanne DeRosa brings us a different point of view, that of Cady's wife. Leanne?
Aisha, days after the three-day standoff on Hornbrook Road ended and days before she lays her husband to rest, Melissa Cady says she's left with unanswered questions about why law enforcement responded the way they did.
My husband told me that he was not coming out of there alive. He told me that. I can't make decisions for him. Bottom line, I don't blame any of them for him passing. None of them. He made that decision.
And Melissa Cady said law enforcement made theirs. It all started the evening of December 30th when an officer showed up at her door to serve her husband an arrest warrant related to a DWI. The fear of going to jail had David Cady reaching for one of his hunting guns.
I grabbed each kid by the hand and I looked up at my husband and I said, "We didn't sign up for this." And he said, "No, you didn't." And he kissed me and we walked out of that house. We were never held hostage. Never.
From there, nearly 20 different law enforcement agencies arrived on scene. Melissa says David fired one shot into the air. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office says it was aimed at patrol cars. Tensions grew, and Melissa spoke with her husband one last time at 4:16 Wednesday morning. She says she knew after that phone call it was the end for him.
He said, "Missy, are you going to be on the other side of that door to take my hand?" And I said, "No, honey, they won't let me." And he said, "Then no, honey, I can't come out." He said, "Missy, I've always loved you." And he hung up. And that was the last phone conversation that anyone had with him. Anyone.
After that, Melissa says she heard another gunshot and believed that's when David took his life. But for law enforcement, their tactics would still escalate.
I gave them everything they needed to get into that home safely.
And to get him out.
To get him out safely. And all they did is took what I gave them and destroyed my home.
Melissa says they used flashbangs and she found at least 67 canisters of tear gas. She says if David was still alive at that point, he would have been incapacitated, allowing for police to take him into custody. We spoke with Sheriff Lansing, and he says the agencies picked their practices based on what's best for everyone's safety. But those practices left the Cady home in pieces as a neighbor watched it all go down.
He watched them come through my side yard and come right out the other side of my bathroom. Just drove straight through it.
Now the Cady's home looks like a tornado destroyed it. Melissa says officers kept her in the loop, but what she found was worse than she ever expected.
I felt betrayed. I felt lied to. To be honest with you, that's what I felt.
Melissa and her family and friends agree that they support the police, and we're all for keeping them safe too. But now that it's over, her family is left without a father and husband and without a home, and she questions whether such extreme measures were necessary.
Bottom line, I don't hate the police. I don't. I just hate what they've done. I'm disgusted with what they've done. And something needs to be stopped. No one else should ever have to do what I'm doing right now.
But Melissa Cady and her family aren't the only ones with questions. A handful of people addressed the Tompkins County Legislature last night to express their concerns as well, saying they want more information about law enforcement's actions. Public Safety Committee Vice Chair Jim Dennis also asked the Sheriff's Office to provide a recap of the incident at the January 12th Public Safety Committee meeting. In the studio, Leanne DeRosa, WENY News.